The Rings of Power becomes more and more disappointing each week. The Rings of Power episode 5 is here and it's not even fun to watch anymore. Nothing is happening and it's just boring. But before we get into anything, guys, if you enjoy my content and you want to see more, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Honestly, I might stop watching this show. It's just so disappointing to me. Millions of dollars spent, and this is what we get. The dialogue, the slow build, the production are all just flat. You can tell that there's no passion whatsoever when they made this. Everything is just super generic, nothing is sticking with me, and we're 5 episodes in and nothing of importance has happened. Anyways, let's talk more about this episode. One of the things I think is actually pretty good, not only in this episode but in the series as a whole, is the visual effects. Specifically the effects when they're transitioning from place to place and they have the map. In this episode, it's very prominent, especially when the Harfoots are migrating. You see a leather map and the mountains drawn on it, and then it slowly transitions into real life mountains. It's a very clever way to show where we are at on the map instead of just putting plain white text on the screen. Another cool visual we see in this episode is the story the Elf King describes. I'm glad that they just didn't show him talking. They actually had visuals behind it. We see the elf on one side of the tree and the Barlog on the opposite side of the tree. And that's the story of how they created Mithril. It looked pretty cool, in my opinion. But the thing with this show is you see the cool transitions, you see the cool visuals, and then you actually watch the show. And you realize the show sucks. You see the characters on screen, and every time they open their mouth, it makes the show worse. Some of the lines in this episode particularly made me check back into the show and do a double take. Here's an example.
Owl's beard. Enough with the quail sauce. Give me the meat and give it to me raw. What?
The writing is getting even more predictable too. So we finally meet this Adar character, and he is your typical evil guy, and we're to believe that he is Sauron, I guess. But as soon as I saw his face and they introduced him, I immediately thought he was a red herring. And it was confirmed this episode because when the Southlanders go and try to bend the knee to him, they actually misgendered him and called him Sauron. Because Adir is kind of like a member of the leftist cult. He makes you bend the knee, and if you misgender him, well, good luck. You know, with a budget that's millions of dollars, you would think the choreography would be excellent in this show because they're going to have epic sword fights coming up. Well, not exactly. Because based off this one fight scene with Galadriel, I can assume that every sword fight from now on is going to look like a musical number.
Because you can't stop the beat. Ever since this old world began, a woman found that if she shook, she could shake up a man. And so I'm gonna shake and shimmy it the best that I can today.
I also love that it takes multiple people to get one little scratch on Galadriel. Because, you know, Galadriel's known for her sword fighting skills.
And she's a strong female character, you bigot.
Now, I know previously I said the visuals are good, right? And a lot of them are. But there's one scene in this episode where I thought, you know, hey, maybe the budget ran out. Take a look at this scene. Notice anything different? It appears that this guy has cloned himself. And once you see that, you can see the duplication in the crowd. Listen, I get when you have to duplicate people because you can't get that many extras. But this is not the scene to duplicate a crowd. You can't really hide it well here. Just get more extras. It's as simple as that. Last thing I want to discuss is the costumes. At the end of this episode, we see an epic montage of everyone getting ready to sail off. But they're all in this cheap looking Under Armour costumes. Some of these look completely garbage. They don't look like Numenorians at all. They look like a dude cosplaying as a Numenorian at a convention. The only half decent looking one is Galadriel. And that makes me super upset. I think at this point, I'm not angry. I'm not sad. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Amazon had an opportunity here to create something just as special or even more special than the original trilogies. When you watch those original movies, you can tell that Peter Jackson and his crew had respect and passion for the original source material. And it truly shows with the amount of work and detail that went into those films. And that respect and passion and attention to detail made those films even better. But this show feels like it has no passion, no attention to detail at all. They just use the Lord of the Rings name to get viewers in. They just made another generic fantasy show and slapped LOTR on it. So did you guys watch Rings of Power this week? If you did, let me know what you thought down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, and if you want to see more content like this, subscribe to the channel. You can catch up on all my other videos by clicking this playlist right here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.